Hi Libra, welcome to your April 2022 General Tarot reading. It's Raina here. So, I'm picking up where I left off from yesterday. I started filming and then I stopped. So that's why the cards are out. So I'm just going to start all over again because I didn't get very far. The heart of the matter is the Nine of Swords. So, you are Swords, being an air sign. The other air signs are Gemini and Aquarius. So anybody from those signs, especially if they're causing you problems, could be featured here. But in general, this is the card of anxiety, insomnia. That's why they have it at night. But one of the, I don't know where, you read these descriptions in different places, but I thought it was strange. They said, like, if you look at the bedspread, there's like flowers on it, so that means that the person may be blowing up a situation out of proportion, which I think a lot of times with anxiety, that's exactly what we're doing. So I don't think it's specific to anything in general. I think this is just like par for the course with anxiety. But let's look at the card that precedes it, which is the past position. Ten of Cups. This is a card of happily ever after. It's you can see a family in the foreground. So there's some kind of family joy. The children are dancing. The adults are acknowledging the rainbow. This is the pot at the end of the rainbow. So it's like number 10 is the end of a cycle. It's like, some matter comes to a nice conclusion. So somebody's dating. That's why it's a marriage card. They're dating and then they have their wedding and they live happily ever after. Or not. But, this is because of the top cards, I would say this is a divorce situation in particular. You could apply this to many things in life, even like a work situation. This is commonplace in life where something is good and then it sours, right? And this is just part of life. And we can't worry about, well, what if this thing doesn't make me happy for the rest of my life? We can't worry about that, but we should worry if we're not with the right person, because it is going to lead to this. If you're choosing the wrong person and you know it deep down inside, then you don't get married or you don't move in with that person. But I'm talking about when you really feel like you're doing the right thing in whatever this involves, and then it turns sour. That's part of life. It's temporary. Life is temporary. The physical life is temporary. So things are constantly shifting. And we have to be able to adapt to that and be okay with that. The higher message is the Five of Wands, and this is a card of conflict. So one possible interpretation, because I'm reading this more in a philosophical way, is that if maybe if you are afraid of breaking up your family and your children not having two parents under the same home, this is a card to say your children will suffer if they see conflict all the time. It's not good for them. Even if you're, holding it in and being a Libra, and the other person is the one who is the most confrontational, that's not good for the children. So something like that. Also, this can be a situation where it wasn't really necessarily about the two of you. There were other people that spoiled the brew. I don't know what that proper saying is, but so like family members, maybe friends, that kind of got inside that person's head, or maybe even on your end were trying to make trouble and it worked. So that has to also be looked at when you look at the end of a relationship. What caused the end of this relationship? How can I next time do things differently so maybe I don't have the same situation, including the person that I am with. Um, Maybe you're with somebody who was just a rageaholic type of person. That's the Five of Wands is that fire energy, but in a combative way. So like an Aries type of hothead person that's problematic. We know what I was thinking is you might be thinking of better times, and that's what's torturing you. What came into my mind is a Libra person who has the moon in Cancer, which is very sentimental. Maybe in any water sign, and they're thinking of the past when things were a lot better. And it might be 100% true, but you have to adapt to the times. There's going to be a full moon in your sign, Libra, in the month of April, which is what this reading is for. And this is going to be in the seventh house. And I mean, I'm sorry, it's going to be in your first house, but it's going to aspect the seventh house because the sun will be there. And that is the house that you rule, the house of relationships. Also, the new moon on the 1st of April is going to be in that house too. The seventh house is also legal affairs. So it's very convenient when you're dealing with a marriage on the rocks and legal issues because they can both be what's going on here. So anything that leads to you and another person having that sense of not seeing eye to eye, being adversaries, that could be what's going on here. What crosses you is the Nine of Cups. This is a card of excess. So I would even say a drinking problem for some people. And again, sometimes these situations that we're talking about occur because of outer influences, whether it's other people trying to interfere in the relationship, whether it's substance abuse, whether it's because what I was going to say is the substance abuse can lead to infidelity. We know that. We know somebody goes out drinking at a bar, they could lose their defenses and then they end up sleeping with somebody, and maybe they didn't want to, but they did so anyway because they didn't have that self-control. So the point is that might have come in between you and the relationship in some way. Some kind of excess, emotional excess in general. The Nine of Cups is actually a positive card, but I'm reading it as a challenge. So if somebody is like, maybe they're bipolar, because the Nine of Cups is actually very, happy, elated that something has gone their way, but it's in the challenge position. So maybe a person who wildly swings between being very happy but then gets very down. And that can wreak havoc on relationships, obviously. What's coming in is the Tower card, and this is a shock to the system. This is something that catapults somebody out of their complacency and forces them to deal with their life as it is, not how they want it to be. And it's interesting because we're getting, in April, we're in eclipse season. So that could be speaking of those things. And actually, at the end of April, we're going to have a solar eclipse in your 8th house. In Taurus, that's your 8th house. So, and Uranus is going to be there too. And Uranus is all about surprises. So this is like the phoenix rising from the ashes on steroids. This, what it almost makes me think of, Libra? It almost makes me think of the person who's been long suffering in a relationship and they want out, but they don't know how to make it happen. And then something happens that either Maybe they find out the other person has been cheating or something like that, and it's a surprise. They didn't expect it. It's funny, I'm recording this the day after Will Smith um, did what he did at the Oscars, and he's a Libra, but this is for April, so it almost seems like this is certain things are what he's been dealing with. I don't know, but yeah, so it's like, whatever it is some kind of a release. So it can be liberating, even though it can be quite messy, and perhaps it's been a long time coming. So that's the message, or the bottom line, is that if you don't do something, the universe will do it for you, especially if it's something that should be done, should be taken care of. And we have as the outcome the Chariot, and this is travel. I mean, this could be, and this could, or a new car, but it's a card of being in the driver's seat after maybe not feeling that way at all, feeling very, very like anxious, as if you don't have control, but you actually do. This is about control. And it can also be that you have learned how to control how you respond or how you think about a situation, so that you can get the result that you want. Because a lot of, like I said, a lot of this could be because you're looking at the past and thinking that that is going to be how it always is, and not you know acknowledging the truth of a situation and moving forward. So yeah, that's pretty interesting, I would say, and that could also apply to work, obviously. So that's what I have for you. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.